Hello, BookTube. I'm Peg, the Book Prize Addict, with the second of my thoughts, reviews, you might say, on the Booker Longlist, which I'm trying to read all 13 of them before the shortlist comes out on September 3rd. I just finished The Wall by John Lanchester, and I want to hurry up and do the review on here so I can read the reviews that my favorite Goodreads group, the Mooks and Gripes group, I've mentioned them before. They follow all the different book prizes, and quite a few of them are reading and reporting on these. And I noticed they're starting to put, somebody just in that group just put up a review on the wall. And I can't wait to read what other people think, but I'm making myself not read any other reviews or comments until I've read it and given my numbers on my 25-point plan with my 5 elements I like to look at. Now, first of all, I'm going to say I had some problems with this book. I am surprised it's on the Booker list because most of them are pretty high quality. And this is I would say, genre fiction. It's an alternate history slash dystopian, and I think the only probably reason it's on the Booker list is its message about the ecological system of the world and what's happening to the world. So it does make it timely in some ways. Now, I'm not saying genre fiction can be literary fiction, and I've actually made a video on that before, but this one I do not think is. So let's just get on with it. It's not completely bad. Let's just go on with it. One of the 5 elements I like to look at is plot. This is has a distinctive plot. In this, it takes place on, I guess, a real large island, and there's a wall around this island that the people have made because they're what they're called others that they're fighting with, who are trying to get to the island and take what they have, though what they have doesn't seem that great. It's never made real clear what the big fight is about. But young people, as they reach, I think, early 20s, are required to go to this wall, huge wall. Maybe that's why it's timely, because of the idea of a wall around the country. Okay, anyway, they're required to go to the wall for 2 years and spend time guarding it. Now, they do get to go home. It's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, but it's really a huge life change, and it's told through the perspective of a young man who is assigned this duty. And what happens there? Now, here's the thing with the plot. The whole first half, it's not that long of a book, it seemed almost plotless. It seemed like the author was preparing to start the plot at any time, but it seriously didn't happen. I mean, it was somewhat good description of the wall, life on the wall, their barracks. I have to say the characters, which is another thing I grade on, were the symbol of the characters and how much you knew about them were the way they described they were dressed. When they were on the wall, they had another guard 50 yards away or whatever, who they were able to talk to at some point, but they were completely covered up in 8 or 10 layers of clothing, hats. You couldn't even tell if they were men or women. And as much as they could tell about the other characters, that's kind of symbolic of how much I felt like I knew about the characters. They were, besides being cold, they were quite two-dimensional and just trying to get through the day, you might say, the night. And there was, I have to say, one perceptive comment about the characters. And this is a comment on the group dynamics. These were called the defenders. They're defending the wall, and they did spend time over meals together. But he makes the comments, with the defenders, this is how they get along, there was stand your ground joshing, banter, which could be aggressive and could be defensive, but was never not there, a wall of its own. And then he makes the statement I think is so relevant. There were hardly any times when you were just plainly and defenselessly yourself with other people. And I think that's more indicative of younger people. Old people kind of just let it all hang out. But I thought that was an interesting comment about the social interaction there. Okay, so here's the deal with the plot. Okay, for the first half, it's in 3 parts, and the second part doesn't start till as I said, the first half didn't have any pace at all. Like, kind of different things happened, but it all seemed to be introductory type description of what life was like and getting ready. And wouldn't you know, part 2 starts, and then there's a part 3, and there's nothing but action. More action than you really want. It's like an action movie, which I hate, where it's action after action after action. I mean, it was just, I felt like the author was just trying to think up of more action he could stick in there. And I can see it as a bad action movie because it didn't have any tempo. It was just so overdone at the last to make up for the kind of boring pace of the first. I'm not going to get into the story at all. It's a lot of action without being very complex. I'll just say that's really all I have to say on this book. I'm anxious to see if my other reviewers have the same problems. It appears to me what would be a good YA book. I don't read YA books, but not much complexity, simple story. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Okay, anyway, my overall rating was a 14 out of 25, which equates to just a little less than a 3 on the Goodreads thing. You just divide my number by 5 and you can tell what it would be. So that's not horrible. And you know, I think a certain mood you might be in for a lot of action, yeah, you read it. But I really don't think we're going to be seeing it on the short list of the Booker. Okay, I've already started the next one and it's better. Bye.